This is Amud Yomi. Gemara in Shabbos, Staff, Kuf Zayin, Amud Aleph, rolling in the bottom of Kuf Vav, Amud Bees, at the Mishnah, at the very bottom of the Amud. Says the Mishnah, as we continue the halachas of Tzad. Tzvi shenichlas lebayis, a deer that enters the house. V'nal echad b'fanav, one closes the door in front of it. Chayev, he is chayev. Na'alu shnayim. Let's say two people together close the door together, Paturin. Let's say one is not able to close it on his own, then Chayavin, they're both Chayiv. Rav Shimon Poiter. Says the Gemara, Barabam Rishwol Atzad Ari b'Shabbos. Einoi Chayiv. Why? Well, you are, but you got to do something else. You have to bring it into its own cage. If the lion is not in its cage, it's not considered trapped. Now, of course, the other dinim in the Mishnah, the din that said if it requires two people, then they're both chayiv. If not one, that's a regular classical din of shnayim sha'asu. The halacha being that if something requires two people, then there's a chiv if they both do it. If something is normal to be done by one and two people, then there's no chiv. It will only be an iser dirabanan. We continue with the next Mishnah. The end of Kavav Mabei says the Mishnah. Yoshav echad ala Pesach. One person is standing in front of a doorway below mil'uhu, but he's not fully blocking the doorway. Yoshav hasheni milu. The second guy comes and fills up the doorway by standing next to him. Hasheni chayiv, because again the first guy didn't do anything. The second guy was one that effectively trapped. I closed the door. Yoshav yishin ala Pesach milu. Let's see the first one fully closed the door. See, the second guy stands next to him. Even if the first one leaves, why? Says the Mishnah. So unlocks his house to guard him. So by you being there to start, you close the door. The fact that you left and someone else takes your place, you are still chayiv. We turn over to Kuf Zayin and Aleph. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Abba Rav Chia Barashi Amar Rav Nichsul Tzibur Dechas Kinavav. If a bird entered under one's garment, you're sitting there and oh my gosh, you feel a bird underneath your jacket. Now the bird cannot get out. Yeshiva Mishama Yishitishach, he can sit and watch it until it gets dark. Meaning, says Rashi, you would think maybe you're obligated to let the bird go. No, because you were not the one that trapped it, it came trapped on its own, you're allowed to let it continue to be trapped until Shabbos ends. Master Nachbar Yitzchak, really? What do we see in our Mishnah? Then to the Mishnah, the second guy comes and sits next to the first guy. Even though the first guy gets up and leaves, what was the halach we saw in the Mishnah? Harishon chayiv, the first one is chayiv, and the sheni is going to be pater. So my lab pater of lost still an iser dirabanan. So if the item is inside your clothing and you continue and maintain a matziv of trapping, we seemingly see from the Mishnah that is an iser dirabanan. Says the Gemara Chedesh of the Mishnah says pater loy pater mutter. It's even mutter lechatchila. Hachinam mistavra. I'll tell you this is logical. Midiktani seifa. The end of the Mishnah says lemazeh daim of the noyel. That's basically shamra. If you close the guard to you lock the house to guard it, and him says, "Shamar b'teichem echlal to pater or mutter." Shema mi no. Just like in that case, you mamish did nothing, and it's mutter. So too in this case. Ika diamri. We're about 12 lines down. The first one line is mechlal. Quotes the Gemara, second lashon. Amram nachma yitzchak avanan nami tanina. We learned similarly in our Mishnah. Afi shamari shavalach loy rishon chayv sheni pater. My love pater umater. Loy pater avlaser. I omegdani seifa lamaz the term the noise base of the shamav names the see shamer zaychay chal pater the mutter. Shema mi na. So again, in classical ikad yamri sense, the second way the Gemara did it was a kasha with a teretz. Omar Shmuel. Once we're getting involved that our Mishnah says the word pater, and we're explaining that pater means pater umutter, says Shmuel a klal. This didn't have Shmuel. We had at the very beginning of the Masechah Daf Gimel, and it comes back over here. Says Shmuel kol peturi de Shabbos. Anytime something is pater of laser to this is the Rabban. Levar me'ani tlas the pater umutter. There are three cases where it's actually mutter. Chadaha, our case. Oh, mi might about the motor diktani save the mazda daimel, the noise faithful the sham even is a z shamer b'zeichai. Vidach, one of the other two cases of Potter Umutter, Mabis Bursa B'Shabbos, someone who pops a pimple, and Lasas Loi Peh. If you're doing it to make an opening, which is to heal the pimple, Chayiv. If you're doing it to remove the pus, Potter, might the Potter Umutter. Titanan, because we learned in a Mishnah. We'll get to this Mishnah soon enough, and Kov Chav Beis, Machat Shal Yad, Little Bas Hakoitz, that you're allowed to take the Machat Shal Yad to be used on Shabbos to remove a thorn. So we see over here that for the fact that it says that you're allowed to do it, shows us it's Pater Umutter. Vedach, as we wrap up the parak, what's the third case that it says Pater and it means Pater Umutter? Hatzanachash B'Shabbos, someone who traps a snake. If you're doing it so it won't bite you, Pater. If you're trapping the snake because you want to use the snake for some sort of medicine, etc. Chayif. How do we see a massive chiddush that you're trapping the snake and it's going to be mutter? How do you know that it's not? You let it burn over a bowl and a lamp. Says explicitly you let it turn over something in trap and akriv, so it won't bite you. So we see that it must be lechatzchila pater mutter. Now, how far this goes? This means you're allowed to trap a mosquito. Not so simple. It would seem more it's items that could actually damage a person, kill kulim. There's a special hatcher, you even allowed to trap them on Shabbos. Hadron Allah cha'irig. We must do. Certainly must do a chazara, and we move straight on from the Melacha of Tzad into the next parak, into similar new Melacha. Says the Mishnah, we just finished saying about trapping snakes. If they're going to damage you, there's a potential heter. Says the Mishnah, there are 8 shiratzim in the Torah, at Sadan v'achayvel ben chayiv. You trap them, you damage them, you're chayiv. Shar shikatzim rumasim. Chayvel them, you're potter. At Sadan l'tzayre chayiv. You trap them to use them, you're chayiv. Shalot tzayre potter. Chayiv avshe b'shusai. A bird, a beast that's in one's rishos. At Sadan, you're potter. V'achayvel ben, you're going to be chayiv. And of course, in the Gemara, we'll see more about that. Let's just begin. The Gemara says, the Gemara Midiktani, from the fact that Mishnah said, ha chayvel ba'ad, if you damage these 8 shiratzim, what is halacha? You are chayiv. Bechlal disli, or man Tano, who is the Tano that holds that one of the Shemana shiratzim have a hide? Amar Shmuel Yechamen Nuri, he did not Yechamen Nuri, Yom Shal shiratzim yish lahem oiros. Rabbi Ravuna Amar Ravilu Dem Rabbana, no. Doesn't have to be Rabbi Yechanan Nuri. I'll tell you, it's even the Rabban. Can look at Rabbi Yechanan Nuri and Ilinian Tum. What's their machlok as if the Shemana shiratzim have klap eilchos tum l'chsavila tameim lochem? The Rabbi said earlier, he's saying give Sarah Navalinian Shabbos. Feel the Rabbanim might, the Rabbanim will hope and be might that's considered that they have a hide, and therefore, if one is going to trap that, if you chayvel them, if you damage them, you're chayav, that's a right that has a hide. We'll stop over here. We'll pick it up from Linin Shabbos the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.